Hello everybody, this is Kirby over yonder, and of all the main characters in Adventure Time, Jake is the one who seemingly goes through the least amount of change. Throughout the entire show, Jake remains a very chill and laid-back character, almost always going with the flow and staying optimistic about the situation he's put in, oftentimes to the annoyance of other characters. But why is he like this? Why doesn't he act more like Finn and take charge of the situation he's put in? Well, there actually is an in-universe explanation for this. To understand why Jake is like this, we're going to have to take a look at two different episodes, both of which are from Season 9. Those episodes being Elements Part 4, aka Cloudy, and Abstract. We'll be starting with Cloudy since that episode came first. Basically, this episode is about Finn and Jake being stuck on top of a cloud and passing the time by talking about their lives. Along with being one of my absolute favorite episodes in the entire series, Cloudy offers a lot of insight into Finn and Jake's characters. I could just as easily be talking about Finn's characterization in this episode, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna be talking about Jake's. Out of being understandably frustrated with the situation, Finn begins to lose his calm, causing Jake to say this. "Don't you get it? I'm worried too. I've been trying to distract you from all this, but that doesn't mean I'm happy with the way things are going. Look at all this beautiful blue around us. It's pretty, right? But you know what I've been thinking? What if we're dead? I didn't say it because I don't want to worry you. I'm the big brother, so I'm supposed to keep it together." This scene is very important for Jake's character. Jake doesn't act the way he acts because he doesn't care or because he's apathetic. He acts like this because he's the big brother. He's supposed to be the voice of reason, but just because he's like that on the outside doesn't mean he's like that on the inside. He still does have fears and worries, just like Finn. He just doesn't express them as much. This is best shown with his line near the end of the episode. "You know, the way I see it, all this elemental stuff would have happened no matter what. We're actually lucky we were out of town. Nothing happened to us, so now we have a chance to fix it." This is followed up in the episode Abstract. Taking place directly after the events of Elements, Abstract is about Jake adjusting to his new body, as well as the world around him adjusting to it. Jake is very nonchalant about this, stating that he's still the same person he is on the inside, while the world around him basically treats him as if he's an entirely different person altogether. Later in the episode, Jake has a dream in which he sees Jermaine painting abstract art. This confuses Jake because normally Jermaine hates abstract art, so Jake goes to confront Jermaine thinking that something is wrong with him. But as it turns out, Jermaine is perfectly fine. In response to this, Jake asks, "Jermaine, what's wrong with you? Who's taken away your identity as a landscape painter?" Jermaine then says, "There's nothing wrong with me, Jake. I've just changed a little. You seem like you've changed a little bit too." To which Jake replies with, "No, I just look different." Basically, Jake is afraid of change. Not the world around him changing, but himself changing. Who he is as a person. This directly relates to the episode Cloudy, because like I said with that episode, Jake is supposed to be the one who's emotionally stable. He's the one who's supposed to calm everyone else down. And if Jake changes, then he might not be able to do that. But Jake needs to let himself change for his own emotional growth, which is beautifully articulated through Jake's final speech. The shapes are always changing. Changing is their natural state, like us. Even if we're not changing on the outside, we're changing on the inside constantly. There's some stuff about me I've been ignoring for a long time. I'm afraid of that stuff, but it's a part of who I am. As long as I know the shape of my soul, I'll be alright. As long as he stays true to who he is as a person, Jake is fine with the fact that he's emotionally changing. Side note, I love the fact that Jake doesn't even realize he went back to normal until Finn flat out points it out, and his line, "different yet the same," is the perfect summary of his character arc within this episode. I initially wasn't a big fan of the fact that Jake just goes back to normal by the end of the episode, but looking back on it, I think it's actually a perfect metaphor for Jake's character growth within this episode. He can still see himself as Jake without being the exact same person he was at the beginning of the series. Plus, it would have been a little awkward for Jake's body to be like that throughout the rest of the series. It definitely works for this episode, but I don't know about the rest of the show. I'm gonna be honest here. Of all the characters in Adventure Time, Jake is the one I relate to the most. He's not my favorite character, that would be Ice King, but he's the one I see myself in the most. Because of that, I think it's pretty easy for me to empathize with Jake, but even if you don't relate to him, I think the show does a very good job portraying why he acts the way he acts. It's not that he's stupid, or lazy, or apathetic. Jake acts the way he acts for the benefit of his loved ones, although that shouldn't come before his own emotional growth. If you're watching this the day it releases, then have a happy Thanksgiving, and if not, then just have a good day. Kirby, out.